that silence, something ancient stirs. You feel it, don't you? Not just with your mind, but with your entire being. This life, this very existence, it feels different, like the final chapter in a long, winding story you've forgotten the beginning of, and yet, somehow, you know you remember. At a level beyond logic, beyond memory, you sense that everything you've done, all the lifetimes of wandering are converging here. This is your final existence, and you are aware of it at a fundamental level. Not everyone will understand this truth. Many will hear these words and shrug them off. But if you are still watching, if you are still here, breathing deeply, listening closely, it means your soul recognizes the signal. This moment is not random. Let me tell you a story. When I was a young monk, I sat across from my teacher beneath the banyan tree at twilight. He looked at me with eyes that had seen centuries pass, yes, centuries. Though his body was young, and said, "You are not here to fix the world. You are here to remember why you were born into it." I didn't understand back then. I thought purpose was something you chased like a shadow, but now I see. Purpose is not a goal, it is a remembering. You were not born to gather trophies, followers, or titles. You were born to complete something sacred, to realize the truth hidden beneath the veil of everyday life. There is a reason you feel more tired than your years should allow. A reason why material pleasures no longer satisfy you, no matter how glittering. A reason you have a longing for silence, for nature, for truth. For the real. It is because your soul is preparing for its final lesson in this school of existence. And the final lesson is this: you are not your thoughts, you are not your fears. You are not even your body, you are awareness itself, pure, unchanging, and eternal. But awareness has one task in this lifetime: to dissolve the illusions that bind it. Let me give you a truth my master once whispered: time is not running out. Time is completing its work. You feel urgency because your soul knows the journey is nearing its conclusion, but not a fearful and a sacred fulfillment. So I ask you now, as gently as a breeze touches a leaf, are you living as if this is your last existence, not in desperation, but in devotion? Would you still chase what you chase now? Would you still argue as fiercely, hold grudges as tightly, cling to identities as stubbornly? Or would you soften, forgive, be still? Let me offer you another story. There was once a man who climbed mountains all his life. He said, "One more peak, one more view." But as he reached the final summit, he realized something heartbreaking. He had never really stood still long enough to witness a single sunrise. The final life is not for climbing. It is for seeing. The sun rises every day, the birds sing, the wind carries wisdom. But only those nearing the end of the journey stop long enough to hear it. You are hearing it now. So I ask again, what if this is your final life? What attachments are you still carrying that do not serve you? What version of yourself are you still trying to be? Even though your soul is whispering it is time to let go? Breathe, inhale the truth. Exhale the illusion. Yes, there is pain. Yes, there is confusion. But beneath it all, there is stillness. There is you, the real you, and in this final existence, the goal is not to achieve, but to awaken. To realize you were never broken, never late, never behind, only asleep. Let me share one more thing. A teaching as old as the stars. When the soul has learned enough, it stops asking what's next and begins asking what's now, what is now, right? Now, you are here with me. We are sharing a sacred silence between words. And in this space, your spirit remembers, not through logic. Through presence. And presence is the gateway to completion. My dear listener, you are not alone. Others feel it, to the knowing, the pull inward, the detachment from chaos, the desire for depth. You are not crazy for walking away from noise. You are not lost for seeking solitude. You are awakening, and it is the most natural thing in the universe. But awakening is not loud, it is quiet. It is not found in the headlines, the spotlights, or the noise. It is found in early mornings, in honest tears, in long walks where you finally hear your own breath. So listen, just listen. Let go of the idea that you are here to prove yourself. You are not. You are here to complete yourself. This life is not a punishment nor a reward. It is a homecoming, a return, and all that remains is to walk it with grace. Not perfection, not performance, just grace. Let your heart guide you now. Let your inner wisdom lead. You are ready. And when it gets difficult, and it will, remember, every soul that nears the end must first walk through fire, not to be burned, but to be purified. So when life feels heavy, remind yourself, this is the final shedding, this is the final test, this is the final becoming. You are awakening. My dear friend, you are returning, and I will be here waiting, watching the stars with you. As we walk home together, sound of deep silence. A bell chimes slowly. Will continue in the next teaching, when the sun rises again and your spirit is ready for more truth. But for now, rest. Breathe. Be. You have done enough for today. Do you feel it now? That soft hum inside your chest, that subtle movement behind your ribs, the pulse of something deeper than blood. That is you, your true self, knocking gently asking to be let in. We began this conversation in stillness, and now we move deeper, not away from the world, but into it, through the hidden door that exists in every breath you take. You see, in this final life, you begin to notice strange shifts. You no longer crave the same things, your tastes, your priorities. Even your friendships may begin to change, not because something is wrong with you, but because your soul is evolving. When you're near the summit of the mountain, you stop being interested in collecting more rocks. You begin to appreciate the view. I remember once, during the rains, I stayed in a monastery deep in the Himalayan forest. There was a young monk there, fierce in practice, always chanting, always moving, always perfecting. One day, he came to me exhausted, asking, "Why do I still feel incomplete? I do everything right." I told him, "Because you are doing everything, but you are being nothing. There is a trap hidden in spiritual paths. Just as there is in worldly ones the trap of performance, the soul doesn't awaken through effort. It awakens through surrender, and surrender is not weakness, it is the ultimate strength. To surrender is to trust the river when you no longer control the boat. To surrender is to open your hands and stop gripping what was never yours to begin with. Ask yourself right now, what am I holding onto that wants to be released? Is it a story about who you were, a fear of being seen, a guilt you've worn for years like a robe? Forgetting it was never your size, release it. You are not who you were. You are who you are and who you are becoming. Let me share with you something my teacher once told me in the silence between two meditations: you are not failing. When you feel lost, you are expanding. The final life feels lonely at times because your soul no longer resonates with the noise of the world. You begin to lose interest in gossip, in shallow pursuits, in competition. You see through the game. And yes, it can feel isolating, but no. The path becomes quieter. Not because you're alone, but because you're finally hearing the divine whisper. And in that whisper lies everything you've been seeking. We've all been conditioned to chase meaning, to attach value to action, to feel worthy only when achieving. But true worth is not measured in output, it is measured in presence. A flower does not bloom louder to be seen. It simply blooms. So bloom, dear soul, where you are, as you are, without explanation. In this final existence, the soul calls for alignment, not applause. And alignment begins with a single, powerful act: truth with yourself. What are you pretending not to know? What quiet truths have you buried beneath busy? What parts of you have been dimmed so that others could stay comfortable? This life is the one where you stop apologizing for existing. This is the life where you speak gently, but honestly. Where you walk slowly, but fully awake. Where you choose peace over performance. Let me tell you about an elder I once sat with in silence. For 7 days, he said not a word the entire week. But when he finally spoke, he looked into my eyes and said, "When I stopped talking, I began to hear my soul. And it told me, you are not here to win, you are here to remember." Do you see the pattern now? Every sign points back inward. Every answer you seek out there is calling from in here. Touch his heart gently, and in this final existence, the lessons come faster, deeper, sometimes harder. But only because your soul has graduated from the kindergarten of existence. You are now in the final classroom, and the lessons? They are simple, but not easy. Forgive even when you are right. Love even when it hurts. Let go even when it shakes your identity. Stay soft even when the world grows hard. Because in the softness, you return to yourself. In one of my walks near the ocean, I saw an old fisherman tossing starfish back into the sea. There were thousands washed up on the shore, and I asked him, "Why do you do this?" "You can't save them all." He smiled and replied, "I don't need to save them all. I only need to save the one in my hand." That is how you should live now. Not trying to save the whole world, but choosing one moment at a time, one breath at a time, one act of kindness at a time. That is enough, that is sacred, and it is in that simplicity that your soul finds rest. So rest now, friend, let go of the pressure to arrive. You already have. Let go of the fear that you are running out of time. You are stepping into timelessness. Let go of the belief that you are broken. You are simply unfolding. This existence is not a punishment, it is a completion. And completion is not the end, it is the merging of all that you've ever been into all that you are. I want you to hold this truth in your heart tonight. You are not becoming something new. You are finally becoming yourself. That is the purpose of this life. To peel away everything that isn't truly you. So what remains is only essence, only light, only peace. And now, as the sun begins to set behind us, casting golden light upon the river, I ask you once more, can you feel it? That deep, quiet truth beneath your chest, that pulse of remembering, that is you. You've been here before, but this time, you've come home. Stay with me. We'll walk further into this sacred remembering. But for now, just breathe, let the stillness complete what words cannot, and when you are ready, we will continue. There is a moment, quiet, fragile, Like the hush before dawn when the soul begins to whisper truths it has carried for lifetimes. If you're still here, still walking with me in this space of stillness, then I know you've felt it, not just heard it, felt it. That gentle nudge that says, this is the life where you stop running from yourself, from your past, from your truth. You've spent so long trying to be something, someone, trying to please, to fit, to climb, to chase, but now you are beginning to release. This is what makes your final existence feel so unfamiliar. You are not chasing anymore, you are becoming not more, but less cluttered, less conditioned, less distracted. And in that less, you find everything. I remember a woman who came to visit our monastery years ago. She had built empires, businesses, homes, reputations, but her eyes were tired, not from work, but from carrying an identity that was never truly hers. She asked me, why do I feel emptier the more I succeed? And I smiled gently and said, because what you're feeling isn't you. We spend lifetimes building walls around ourselves, labels, roles, personas, but eventually the soul gets tired of pretending. Eventually, you come to realize your job is not to decorate the prison. It is to leave it. And how do we leave? We begin with presence. We begin with truth. Let me ask you, softly but directly, when was the last time you were fully present with yourself, without distraction, without escape, without judgment, not in meditation, not in prayer, just present? When was the last time you sat with your sadness without trying to fix it? When was the last time you listened to your loneliness as if it were an old friend, instead of a problem to solve? In this life, the final one, you must learn how to sit with your shadows, not to fight them, but to love them. Because even your darkness has been trying to bring you home. Even your pain has been a teacher in disguise. This is the sacred paradox. The things you thought were breaking you, we're remaking you, and that's why this path is so delicate, so profound. You're not just healing in this life, you're finishing karmic loops, finishing emotional cycles, finishing the long forgetting. There was once a monk who buried his memories like seeds in the soil. He said, let me grow without clinging to where I've been. And in time, he bloomed not as something new, but as something true. You're doing that now. The discomfort you feel? It is not regression, it is rebirth. The tiredness? It is not weakness, it is sacred release. You're not breaking down, you're breaking open, and yes, that opening hurts. But it's the only way the light gets in. Let me share something I have never said before. Outside temple walls, when the soul is ready to leave this world for the final time, it stops looking for explanations. It starts looking for integration. So I ask you, what parts of you still need to be gathered? What younger version of you still waits for a hug? What mistakes are still screaming for your forgiveness? Go to them, don't wait for someone else to validate your healing. You are your own closure, you are your own permission, you are your own return, and it doesn't require effort, only honesty. I once watched an old man in our village stand by a lake at sunset, whispering apologies to the wind. When I asked him what he was doing, he said, I'm setting down the weight I didn't need to carry into the next life. And I realized that's what we're all doing now, setting things down, letting go of ideas about who we're supposed to be, releasing resentment, pride, regret. Forgiving not for others, but for ourselves. Forgiveness is the final key. It doesn't mean you condone what happened, it means you free yourself from the prison of holding it. The truth is, you were never meant to carry it all. Only to feel it, learn from it. And move through it. Like water. And water doesn't resist, it flows. So let your healing flow now, let your transformation be gentle. Don't rush it. The soul doesn't move on a clock, it moves on timeless rhythm. You are not behind, you are not lost, you are simply ripening. Trust the season you are in. Even the tree does not doubt when it sheds its leaves. Even the moon does not fear the night, and you, too, are part of that rhythm. Let the old fall away, let the stillness guide you. Let this moment be enough. The monk closes his eyes, the river flows steadily. A breeze moves through the trees like breath. You've come so far, dear one, and I honor you for walking this path of remembering. You are closer than ever before. But we are not finished yet. There is more to explore, more to release, more to reclaim. So walk with me just a little farther as we step into the next layer of this sacred unraveling. In the next conversation, we will go deeper into the mysteries of soul contracts, purpose, divine timing, and what it truly means to complete a life. But for now, just rest. Rest in this knowing you are not who the world told you to be. You are who the universe remembers you to be, and that is more than enough. Can you feel the stillness now? How quiet the world becomes when the soul speaks. It's not the silence of emptiness, but of deep presence. Not the absence of sound, but the presence of truth. We've traveled far together. You and I, not in distance, but in depth. And now, here beneath the starlight, beside the fire, we arrive at a sacred turning. This moment This chapter in your soul's journey is not random. It is orchestrated by you. By the part of you that exists beyond the physical, beyond time, beyond form. The one who made a choice long before your birth. You see, in this final lifetime, things become less about doing and more about being. Not because life slows down, but because your spirit finally refuses to rush. You are starting to feel the gravity of truth. Not intellectual truth, but soul truth. The kind that doesn't need to be explained. Only remember. And one of the deepest truths you will remember in this life is this: you chose this. Yes, you chose the family, you chose the pain, you chose the contrast, the silence, the longing. The search. Not as punishment, but as preparation. Because before this life began, your soul entered into sacred contracts, agreements, not written in words, but felt in frequency, agreements with others, yes, but most of all, an agreement with yourself. To wake up. To embody peace. To complete what began lifetimes ago. There are those you meet in this life who feel strangely familiar, those who awaken something ancient within you, and that's not coincidence. It's remembrance. Some call them soulmates. Others call them karmic mirrors, but beyond all names, they are your echoes of past lives, returning in form to help you close loops, to help you reclaim fragments of yourself lost through time, to help you remember what matters now. You see, the final existence isn't about adding more. It's about completing what's already been written, like a song that finally reaches its final note. And that's why certain events in your life seem to come full circle. That's why certain people reappear after years, why old wounds resurface, not to haunt you, but to heal you, because the soul, in its wisdom, will never allow you to leave unfinished what was meant to be completed. That's not karma as punishment, that's karma as grace. Completion is love in its highest form, and love, real love, is not always soft. Sometimes it breaks you open, sometimes it strips you of illusion, sometimes it comes as grief, as surrender, as the unbearable lightness of letting go. But underneath it all, there is peace. You feel it, don't you? The deeper you go within, the more everything outside becomes a mirror, the more time stretches, the more you detach from urgency. Because urgency lives in fear, but presence lives in eternity. Let me share a story with you. There was an old sage in our lineage, known simply as the Quiet One. He spoke only 3 times in his entire life, and the last thing he said before he passed was this: I am not leaving. I am only continuing, without form. What a beautiful truth. Death is not the end. It is the doorway of completion. And in this final life, you will begin to make peace with death, not just as an event, but as a rhythm of existence. You begin to die to the false self, little by little. To the identities that no longer fit. To the masks that once protected you but now restrict you. To the roles you were praised for, but which cost you your essence. And in their place, something raw, something pure, something ancient begins to rise. That is the real you. The one who has lived 1,000 lives, the one who now walks barefoot into the fire of truth, not to be burned but to be purified. And yes, it is humbling. It is vulnerable. It is quiet, but it is real. And isn't that what you've been searching for all along? REALNESS. Depth. Stillness. Love, without conditions, purpose, without performance, presence, without pressure. This is it. You are not missing anything. You are simply unlearning everything that told you otherwise. So what now? You walk forward with grace. You speak gently, you live with intention. You forgive quickly, you release the need to be understood. And instead, you focus on understanding yourself, because in knowing yourself, you remember the divine, and in remembering the divine, you remember why you came, not to win, not to impress, not to conquer, but to awaken. To soften, to return. There will be moments of doubt, moments of fear, moments where the path feels steep. But always remember, this existence is the one you chose to walk fully awake. So stay awake, dear one, stay soft, stay open. You are not alone. You are part of a silent wave of souls rising together quietly, peacefully, powerfully, completing their final life not with noise, but with grace. Let the rest of your journey be an offering of stillness in a noisy world. An offering of depth in a shallow time, an offering of love, even when it costs you comfort. Because in the end, the only thing we take with us is how deeply we lived and how gently we loved. We will go deeper still. In our next conversation, we will explore the final signs of soul readiness, how to recognize the spiritual maturity that tells you you're almost home. But for now, rest in this flame beside me. Feel its warmth, feel your own. This existence is sacred, and you are sacred to. Can you feel it now? That quiet, unmistakable stillness in your chest, that echo of something ancient, steady, and whole. It's not just peace, it's the soul remembering itself. When you come this far on your journey, when the noise of the world has lost its hold, and the distractions no longer satisfy you, begin to awaken into something we call soul readiness. It's not something you achieve. It's something you recognize, not in your mind, but in your being. It arrives gently, like spring after a long winter, without announcement, without drama. One day, you wake up and you are no longer waiting for anything. You're no longer chasing love or approval or status. You stop proving, you stop performing, you stop trying to escape what is. Instead, you begin to see clearly, see gently, see from the eyes of eternity. This is the mark of a soul approaching the final turn in its journey, a sacred settling. The ego, once loud, becomes quiet. The questions once frantic become still. The suffering once constant becomes meaningful. You begin to see every event in your life not as a mistake, but as a message. Every heartbreak, a lesson in compassion. Every betrayal, a mirror to your strength. Every delay, a divine redirection. You see now, don't you? The universe was never against you. It was always preparing you. There's a story from the early temple days of a monk who would walk barefoot across hot stones each morning before prayer. When asked why he put himself through the pain, he said, "So, I remember how to walk gently even when the world burns beneath me." That is spiritual maturity. Not perfection, but presence. Not certainty, but surrender. Not control, but trust. When your soul matures, you don't need answers, you need awareness. You don't demand closure. You become the closure. You stop resisting endings, because you see them for what they truly are: gateways, initiations, sacred transitions into higher being. Many of you feel this now. That subtle sense of being in between, no longer the person you once were, not yet the person you are becoming. It's like standing on a threshold between lives. And that's exactly where you are, between the story of survival and the unfolding of your arrival. The final existence isn't about climbing higher. It's about coming home, home to simplicity, home to stillness, home to what has always been within you. And when you are close to this inner home, certain signs begin to appear. Let me share them with you now. 1. You release the desire to convince others. You no longer argue to be right. You realize that truth speaks for itself and that peace matters more than being understood. 2. You feel drawn to solitude, but not loneliness. You begin to cherish your own company, not to escape others, but to listen to your inner world without interruption. 3. You simplify. Clutter of the mind, of the home, of the calendar falls away. What once felt important now feels heavy. 4. You forgive, not for them, but for you. You realize resentment is a burden you no longer have room to carry on this final stretch of the journey. 5. You feel an unshakable sense of enoughness. Not because your life is perfect, but because your awareness is, you are no longer empty. You are full of presence. And perhaps the most important sign of all. 6. You feel an inner invitation to prepare, not in fear, but in grace. To put your affairs in order. To express your truth. To bless those who walked with you. To release the loops that are complete. To leave nothing unsaid to your soul. This readiness doesn't come with age. It comes with alignment. And when it arrives, you stop waiting for tomorrow. You begin to live fully now. You walk slower, you speak softer, you love deeper, you wake each morning not in urgency, but in reverence. Because you know, this could be the last sunrise you witness in this body, and instead of fearing that truth, you honor it. You drink your tea with gratitude. You listen to the wind with wonder. You say, "I love you," not as a ritual, but as a sacred breath. This is the life of a soul in its final return. There is no need to announce it. No need to prove your progress. No need to rush your awakening. You are simply becoming whole. And wholeness is quiet. Let me leave you with a final reflection from a master I once studied under. He said, "The fully awakened soul doesn't leave the world shouting. It leaves whispering, 'I remember who I am, dear one.' You are close. So close, not to an ending, but to a completion. And soon, in our final conversation, we will speak of the most sacred part of all, what it means to carry peace into your final breath. How to bless your life while still in it, and how to meet your own soul as a friend, not a stranger, when the time comes to return to the light. But for now, sit in the soft beauty of this knowing. You are not behind, you are not broken, you are in bloom. The petals of your spirit are opening one breath at a time. And this world, it is grateful for your presence. And so, here we are, you and I, that the edge of the path, not the end of the road, but the beginning of a return not to a place, but to your essence. The soul's journey through lifetimes is not a straight line, it is a spiral, a sacred unwinding, a remembering of what was always true. You are not here to escape life. You are here to embody it fully and to bless it as you leave. You see, this final existence, it is a rare gift. It is the moment when the soul stops running, stops hiding, stops trying to prove, and simply says, "I am ready to be," fully, gently, truthfully. You don't need to become anything more. You need only return to what you already are. And this is the great homecoming. The final lifetime is not about conquering the world, it is about releasing it. Not with rejection, but with reverence. You've danced through the fires of loss, You've tasted the sweetness of love and the bitterness of endings. You've wandered through deserts of doubt and climbed the mountains of meaning. And now your spirit remembers there is nothing to earn, nothing left to seek. There is only the grace of presence. And presence is the soul's final mastery. In this presence, you begin to bless everything, the wounds that shaped you, the silence that taught you, the people who awakened you, even through pain, and above all, you begin to bless yourself. You begin to see your own face as sacred, your breath as prayer, your tears as offerings. Let me tell you a story. There was once a monk nearing the end of his life. He had served quietly for decades, never speaking more than a few words each day. On the evening of his passing, the other monks gathered around him. One asked, "Master, do you have any final teaching?" The monk smiled, pointed to his chest, and whispered, "I have already returned. The body just hasn't caught up yet." That is enlightenment. It is not leaving the body, it is living so fully that death becomes a gentle wave, not a crashing storm. To live in this way, dear one, is to prepare not with fear, but with love. So ask yourself, have I loved well? Have I forgiven deeply? Have I lived in alignment with my truth, even when it cost me comfort? Because those are the questions that matter in the end, not how many titles you held, not how much wealth you gained, but how much of your soul you expressed in every quiet moment. Let go of the idea that peace comes after achievement. Peace comes when you stop waiting to be enough. You already are. Right here. Right now. Look around you. The sky isn't rushing. The trees aren't competing. The stars don't compare their light. They simply exist fully, effortlessly, gloriously, just like you were meant to. In this final chapter, allow yourself to soften completely. Let your relationships become sacred exchanges. Let your words become blessings, not weapons. Let your home be a temple, not a hiding place. Let your silence become prayer. There is no more need for struggle, no more need for punishment. You are not broken, nor have you ever been. You are a soul that has loved so deeply, it chose to come here one last time to remember. To gather the scattered threads of your existence. To stitch the fragments into a tapestry of grace, and to leave this life as you entered it, with innocence, with wonder, with light. And as that day nears, whether years from now or sooner than you expect, know this: you will not walk that final stretch alone. You will be met by the ones who love you beyond time. You will be welcomed, not judged. You will be embraced by the universe, and it will whisper, "Welcome home, beloved. You have done well." And so, as our conversation comes to a close, let us take one final breath together. Inhale gently. Feel the entire weight of your journey, all the sorrow, all the wisdom, all the growth. And now, exhale. Let it go. Let it all go. Because now, you walk forward as someone who remembers this existence is your final one. Not as a punishment, but as a completion. You are not fading, you are rising. You are not ending, you are returning. You are not dying, you are awakening into eternity. And I, this humble monk, bow to the vastness that you are. May your steps be soft. May your heart stay open. And may your soul walk gently home, one breath at a time. If this message touched your spirit, please like, share, and subscribe to walk further with us on this path of peace and awakening. Leave a comment below. What part of your soul are you ready to reclaim today? For more calm reflections and spiritual storytelling, tap the bell icon to never miss a moment of truth again. Best experienced with headphones. Let your journey begin now. Thank you for walking this journey with me.